You see that pile of skin in the corner? Let's add to it by taking the callus off of the heel of my foot. In this video, we're going to be doing the whole heel and the smoothing and finishing of the rest of the foot. It is definitely coming off in little chunks here, but be sure to stay until like the 3-minute mark in this video when we get some very long, satisfying strips, possibly the biggest, longest, most satisfying strips I have ever shaved off of my foot. But to start, I have to start somewhere. I start usually in this part of my heel because it's easy to reach and it's also very thick and can give me a good gauge for how the whole heel is going to go. I didn't use callus softener during this shave, and a lot of you were asking me, why didn't you use it? And I just really wanted to show what my process has been since high school. Since I was a teenager, this is how I've done it. Dry skin and just shaving in little tiny pieces with this shaver. This exact same one, in fact, chunking it off like this. So I'm very comfortable with this thickness. I know how to work with it. Even if it's very thick and I'm using a ton of pressure, you can see that I've angled the blade in such a way that when the pressure releases and it flies away from my foot like that, it's not going to cut me and slice into me. And that is definitely a beginner mistake that I hear a lot of people saying, like, oh my gosh, I was trying to shave my callus with this thing and it just sliced into my foot and gouged me and took a huge chunk out. And like, oh my God, I experienced that when I was learning how to use this. But very quickly I realized it was of utmost importance to angle that blade in the correct direction. So you often see me pushing the whole head of the shaver flat against my foot so that the angle is actually upward and I'm starting deep and pulling up instead of like shaving down into my foot. Gosh, I just can't emphasize enough how important it is that you angle that blade the right direction. But if you do, you can do what I'm doing here, which is keep the skin from getting cut too deep while also removing a significant layer of skin. This is 3 months growth, so it's a lot thicker than it usually is during a shave. But I'll tell you, when I started, my skin was this thick and this hard, and I didn't do it very frequently because it was such a huge chore. It would take me hours to shave my feet because I was still learning. I didn't have any techniques. I didn't have the hand-eye coordination, the motor skills. I didn't have the finesse. I didn't have any of that. I was just figuring it out. So it would be like a whole Saturday of learning how to do this. And I would cut myself, and it was an adventure for sure. But now I'm able to do this with a lot of ease and comfort. And you can see even on the back side of my foot here where I cannot see what I'm doing a good job of not cutting myself and getting that skin off and getting it nice and smooth. I first take all the skin off as much as I can, and then I come back in with these very light little surface swipes just to get the thinnest, any unevenness. And look at that, perfect. And here we go, the giant chunk. Once I've got the edges off, the really hard edges, the middle is a lot softer all on its own and will come off like that. And then I'm gonna have to kind of chop my way through the bottom here, and then I'll come back up and do another big swipe in a moment. And why did I leave that little patch right there on the side? It's because I couldn't see it. I have had comments saying like, why don't you use a mirror? There's ways that you could, do this shave and see that side of your foot. But as you can tell by seeing this video, I don't need it. Perhaps in the beginning I should have though, but I think it was a good idea to learn how to do this by touch because I can feel that skin is my skin and it's really hard and thick and I can't feel through it very well. But as I'm shaving it off, I can feel the relief. I can feel the skin relaxing. I can feel it softening up and conforming better to the shape of my foot. And I can just tell. So I can do it without looking, but it was definitely a learned skill. And here I am trying to get more strips, but it's just not going to happen. The skin was nice and soft in the middle there, and the rest of this is just a little too thick and too dry to come off in smooth strips. When I do the other foot, which I will show you next week, coming soon, you'll see that with the callus softener, the skin really does come off in nice long strips most of the places. But surprisingly, there wasn't a massive difference in time. This whole foot took me, 50 minutes, maybe an hour, including the toes. And the other foot took me like 45, 50 minutes, almost an hour, including the toes. So even though it makes the shave go much more smoothly, it still takes about the same amount of time, which either goes to show my skill level doing this without the callus softener, or the fact that just the labor is going to take that long no matter how easy or challenging the shave is. And I do leave the skin there in the middle of my arch. There's a little bit there that I didn't shave, and that's because it is so thin that I just can't shave it. And the rasp really wasn't working either, although I did try. And so that's just going to get lotioned out and be allowed to grow at its own pace. And I don't have to worry about it because it's flexible and feels good. And that's like the whole point here. And then I did these little tiny scritch surface scrapes to get the rest of the callus even. Because as you could see in my heel especially, it was like really lumpy and uneven in the way that the skin was removed. But it's kind of that way all over the foot. And so I come back through and do these smoothing shaves all over. I probably spent 5 minutes just detailing like this the whole foot, but I didn't include all of that because it's just kind of redundant. You can't really tell what I'm taking off in the video, but I can see it. I can feel it for sure. And of course, coming out of the shaver, you can see all that skin. And here we go. Here's the end result. I still have to do my big toe and do some clipping on all of my little toes, so I will show you that soon. But in the meantime, here is my foot with all the skin removed, and it feels so good. Bye!